This is The Extra Point, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast, sponsored by your Phoenix Suns.
Well, closing in on week 3 of the preseason, Cardinals and Broncos right here on Arizona's Family CBS 5 on Sunday, the regular season opener in Buffalo on September the 8th. And we're excited to be the Cardinal station, excited to have former Cardinal, former Buffalo Bill, former Washington Redskin, former Carolina Panther, former Cal Golden Bear, Lorenzo Alexander, zooming into the podcast, joining us this year as our analyst. And Lorenzo, how does the day find you as we approach week 3 of the preseason?
I'm doing well. I'm in the middle of training camp as well with our youth football team, the Central Phoenix Colts, and with my son. Your son is out there. So I'm staying pretty busy, locked in on Cards football, Colts football, and just, overwhelmed and really happy that it's football season.
We don't have a lot of linemen here in Phoenix. We need to work on that. I think the South and, we got to – how many linemen do you have there for the Colts? Do you need any more?
We got some pretty good linemen. Now it's all about getting them to come off, be mean, set the tone, because obviously we all know that the game is won in the trenches. So just really cultivating there. I got Zack Moore, former NFL player, got a Super Bowl ring that lives here in the Valley, and he's been our O-line D coach, and he's really whipping those boys in the shape.
That's great. Yeah, all of my coaches growing up outside of Dallas and Plano, Texas, smoked cigarettes and yelled at us. So it's a much better setup here playing for the Colts as a youngster here in Phoenix. But hey, I know it's a busy day for you. You're running around, so thanks for zooming in as we preview the matchup here. You're going to be in studio on Sunday. This is week 3 of the preseason. Used to be 4 weeks of it, so this is sort of that like last game. We're not going to see any of the starters play, but you played in a couple of these. So tell me the approach here of trying to earn a spot and the nerves of kind of, not really knowing what the roster is going to look like come opening day.
Yeah, it's really about going out there and just doing your job. Everybody wants to have that splash play, that big play, but it's really about gaining the trust of not only the Cardinals coaches, but the coaches around the league, because everybody's going to be watching that film. And even when we see cut day, you see guys that you thought may have made it, but somebody else releases another guy that they like a little bit more, and they end up releasing you. So it's really securing your spot around the league, because everybody's going to be watching. Because one thing my coach Danny Smith used to tell us was the best players don't necessarily play on Sundays, it's the ones that we trust. And if you think about it, right, coaches' jobs are dependent on guys doing their job, obviously at an elite level, but not beating ourselves. And so they're trying to identify guys that know where they need to be, know great fundamentals and technique, and are going to be consistently showing up and making the plays they're supposed to make, because at the end of the day, it's what leads you to win games.
Well, the couple position battles for the Cardinals, but probably the biggest right now is the backup quarterback battle. What have you seen out of Desmond Ridder and Clayton Tune, and what do you think we'll see in Denver on Sunday? I guess would you keep 3 quarterbacks? That's the question for the Arizona Cardinals right now.
I don't know if I would keep 3 on the active roster. You can always, stash one of those guys maybe on practice squad if you still think one of them needs to develop. Looking at this preseason, it's been really hard to judge them. I think Tune has played a little bit better, but overall, the offensive line, I think, hasn't played well. When you get to that second team, because a lot of the starters haven't played either, being able to consistently protect whoever was back there to allow them to go through their progressions, feel comfortable, and it's really hard. But at the end of the day, they're going to make a decision based on what they've seen in practice as well as these games. And Sunday will be their last opportunity to go out there and really showcase once again and vie for, that backup quarterback position. But at the end of the day, it's about leadership. Can I execute? And then can I make the plays that I need to in order to extend drives and put points on the board? And right now, I think Tune has done a little bit better job.
Well, when we look at also the new kickoff rules, that's certainly been a hot topic here. As you've watched the kickoff, how have you seen the best deployment? Who have you seen kind of do it best? How do you think this is going to look in the regular season as they have one more time?
It's still kind of hard to see. I'm going to watch the film, and I'll have some better answers for you as we move along. I think there's been a couple of linebackers that have popped. But I'm going to check it out one more time before I make that judgment. But my biggest thing is, why do they call it dynamic? What was I doing when I played? Was it not dynamic when we had, 300-pound linemen in a wedge all the way across and you had to dynamically run through them, right? Ask Ron Wolfley about that. But I love the changes. I think we've talked about this off air. I love that they've kind of made some changes so that that part of the game can still be valuable. And it allows a lot of these guys that we're talking about fighting for position to continue to add value, but more importantly, allows them to develop into a linebacker or a running back or a tight end that they all want to be. And that's mainly how I made it in the league, right? I allowed special teams. I was a bell cow there, made a Pro Bowl, but it allowed me to work while I waited, add value to the team, play. And then once I was good enough to, earn a starting position at linebacker or defensive end, I was able to grasp it then. But without special teams, I'd have been out of the league a lot sooner. So I love what they've done. They're still giving value and opportunity for guys that go undrafted or the back end of a roster to really still go out there and showcase and play ball.
And I wonder, as far as the deployment of players on special teams on the kickoff, if you're going to see something crazy like the Cardinals keep more running backs because you'd rather have running backs, or there's a team that puts a lineman out there and would block the position. Do you think that this is come cut down day, rosters are going to look a little different than they've looked in the past just based on the kickoff rule in particular?
Maybe. I don't want a lineman in that position that's playing in space unless it's like an athletic defensive end, right? So I still think you're going to have your same body types, but to your point, they may keep a running back instead of that 6 receiver because it is more like a run play because it's tighter confinements as far as guys running down there having a full head of steam at you. You can almost think of it more like, zone or gap scheme type runs, and running backs typically have a little bit better vision than maybe a receiver. So, and then I also would think, again, maybe they add another bigger body, maybe an extra tight end or maybe an additional linebacker, an athletic defensive lineman, because you do want stout guys that are athletic because you're going to see a lot of button press, which is when a guy on kickoff comes down and really just tries to run through a guy, control a guy that's blocking him, and be a two-way go player. And receivers, just the nature of their body type and what they're asked to do, typically aren't as good as that as some of those bigger bodies that are athletic, as we would call big skill.
That's going to be fascinating to watch. Offensively for the Cardinals, any concerns about Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray not getting any reps together in the preseason?
No, I mean, they put time in the offseason through in practice. I mean, the biggest thing is just getting hit. I don't think their timing should be an issue, especially when they had those joint practices with the coach last week. Those are like game reps outside of getting tackled to the ground. And you really, in the preseason, and the way the league works and the amount of money that is invested in the resources put into these players, you really want to minimize that. I'm still of the old school thought process of you want to get out there and play as much as possible, get your feet wet, get your routine together. But I definitely understand how the game has evolved, has changed, and some of these joint practices that we didn't always do when I played are now more prevalent and can really help a guy get ready for that game-like speed that you see on Sundays once the regular season starts. But it shouldn't hurt them at all. I think, they're both pros. Obviously, we've all talked about how Kyler is matured and grown. And so his intentionality and who he is and his experiences, I think is definitely going to add to helping Marvin make the adjustment as well and being on the same page as they move forward.
LJ Collier said today for the Cardinals that he really thinks the team is going to put the league on alert week 1 in Buffalo and put it out there that he thinks they're going to be very good. How do you feel about confidently saying that and standing by your team before the season to kind of put that out there? He feels it. I kind of love a guy who says it. What's that like inside a locker room when someone puts it out there like that?
Obviously, it's a lot of confidence in that statement. I feel like you asked me that because I play for the Bills as well, and that's the last team I played for. So you're trying to make me pick or choose who
you got week 1, Lorenzo?
Who I have, right? But I think at the same time, sometimes you just need to move in silence, right? Especially as you're a team that's up and coming. Obviously, Collier, that's not his personality, and I respect that if that's who he is every single day. That's one guy that I haven't played with, but I've really liked his leadership. So I know he's putting the work in to believe that statement. And so as a team, you just got to go out there and back it up. But you also have to realize that them boys in Buffalo or whatever team you're typically talking about publicly like that, that they hear it too, and you're going to get their best shot. And when they have a guy like Josh Allen at the helm, one of the top quarterbacks in the league, typically you kind of want to, let those guys just be and don't give them another reason to maybe be great. But hey, everybody has their way about going about business. He said it. Now he has to go out there and back it up, and his teammates has to support him in that process.
And that's part of leadership. If they go out there and back it up, I think this could blast off for the Cardinals. And yeah, we saw him out there talking to the whole team. I think when you were out there for training camp one day, and he kind of aired everybody out that the effort wasn't good enough. So count me an LJ Collier supporter right now at this point in the season, like what the guy's about. Before you get out of here, other NFL storylines, just real quick. Best rookie quarterback when it's all said and done this year. You think Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, who pops here in the NFL?
I really don't know because it's hard to tell. The rookie season is a hard one. It's a long one. It can be very unpredictable. I did get a chance to go to Chicago this year, and I have a couple of guys that I've played for and played with, and I got to see Caleb Williams do his rookie show. I'm not going to tell how it went or not, good or bad or indifferent, but the guys gravitate to him. They really like him. They respect him. They understand his grind and what he's going about and how he's going about it and what he has at stake. And so anytime a young guy can come in and vets are like, man, this dude is real, right? And they come up and tell you that without kind of really asking about it. I'm going to have to rock with Caleb Williams this first year just because of some of those type of statements that I got and received when I was in Chicago.
So potentially the Bears can make a little charge here. You see any other teams kind of on the rise right now that you get your eye on?
Always the Houston, I think they can build off from what they did last year with CJ Stroud, also the Detroit Lions, right? They're right there on the cusp and what they've been able to do under Dan Campbell the last couple of years. And so I don't know if you call, either one of those teams on the rise, but they're trying to rise into that next tier, right? When you think about the 49ers, when you think about the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs, those teams at the top echelon of the league that are continually playoff contenders and Super Bowl champions, those are the type of teams that those two teams are trying to become.
All right, so last question. How do we get you to make a prediction week one? Is there like a dare involved? I'll do it. I want to know who you think is going to
win. Maybe money. That normally motivates me in these type of situations. But
I got $5 in the wallet. Is that
I just
no. Yeah.
It's really hard to travel, especially across the country, and I don't know quite how JG is going to handle that situation. It's not cold yet, so it's going to be great weather. It's going to go out there and play. But I can't go against my boys in blue. I just can't do it right now. So I think it's going to be a tough game, a physical game, because I've gotten a chance to see the Cardinals play. I am going to say, let's say 24-20 Bills.
All right. Checks in the mail, by the way. And I partnered. I'm going to try to go to Niagara Falls. So if you have any other places I got to go around Buffalo, let me know. And we can talk about it this Sunday when you're in house for the postgame show following Denver.
All right. Sounds good. Appreciate you, brother.
All right. See you Sunday.
This is The Extra Point, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast, sponsored by your Phoenix Suns.